Hi everyone, this is Sumit from Labellerr.com. We are SaaS platform helping enterprises scaling up their AI ML operation to the production. We help them it at various stage of their AI journey, like data preparation, annotation, model building, model training, deployment, and overall MLOps. Today we are going to discuss some of the challenges in healthcare sector with Leonard Apeltsin. He's a data scientist director at Anomaly. So hi Leonard,
Hi.
how
Hi,
are
good
you?
morning. I'm pretty
Morning.
good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
It's great to be
So
here.
yeah, thank you. So means getting directly into the discussion, we just wanted to understand that what exactly is Anomaly and what is your daily day-to-day life at the work.
Okay, so Anomaly is a small but rapidly growing startup that attempts to fix inappropriate healthcare billing using machine learning and data science. So unfortunately, in the United States, healthcare billing is broken. It's estimated that 2 to 10% of all healthcare claims have some sort of inappropriate billing patterns on them, which is pretty ridiculous when you think about it. Imagine if your credit card statement came back and 10% of the time there was an error in it. And the errors arise for a multitude of reasons, but mostly because healthcare billing is incredibly complex. And so in order to resolve the data complexity, we apply data science and machine learning techniques to identify the inappropriate billing signals and deal with them appropriately.
So to implement AI and data science in those kind of faulty payments and all those documents, how you implement it? Means what is the process?
Mhm.
What kind of data that you need and how you go about it?
So Anomaly is dealing with hundreds of millions of healthcare claims, about 2 to 10% of which have some sort of broken signals present. So it's a highly balanced data set, the one we can manage, but something we can work around. What makes the problem difficult is the need for some sort of domain expertise to comprehend the data. Because if you want me to find anomalies in that healthcare data, I will find anomalies that won't necessarily be indicative of inappropriate billing. Like the other day, I was looking through a claim in which a patient was injected once with a single dose of a drug, paid out $2.1 million. Perfectly legitimate. It's the most expensive drug on the market. So in order to differentiate between signals that are unusual and signals that are indicative of broken billing, we need domain experts involved, and kind of leveraging the knowledge of domain experts to label and stratify the data is a challenge that we're dealing with appropriately, but I think it's definitely a challenge that extends beyond healthcare to other aspects of machine learning, where an expert is required to understand the nuances of the data so that the data can be labeled or categorized appropriately.
Right. So you're basically talking about the human in the loops. And in your case, there should be a domain expert, not a normal human to
Exactly.
identify the object, simple object. It's not that simple. So means it sounds like that you have to label lots of data and that too with the expensive resources. So how you overcome those
Oh,
challenges?
well, so we've there is this research movement pioneered at Stanford around weekly supervised learning, in which one leverages the knowledge of the domain experts to come up with thousands of heuristics and simple statistics and so forth, defining, let's say in our case, what makes defining the various ways in which a claim can be broken, and then applying kind of advanced ideas from weekly supervised learning, where we kind of use Bayesian techniques to decorrelate the various heuristics. We can label the data, try to label the data more intelligently. Of course, even with application of weekly supervised learning, some human in the loop interface and technology is necessary for those domain experts to then come in and make sure that the predictions, particularly the predictions centered around broken claims with inappropriate billing signals, that those predictions are meaningful and accurate, and they can provide feedback in those instances where the predictions are incorrect. And that also requires some sort of interpretability component, which we're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, but a lot of these tools that we're building out, we're building custom to our particular use case.
Right. So who means it sounds like your customer are like insurance company or hospital, and they need to check this all those faulty claims and all those kind of stuff. So means
Well,
I think accuracy is a key concern.
yeah, so it's very important that we have a high precision, because when a customer, let's say when a customer is an insurance company, obviously we don't want the insurance company then going back hassling a doctor who's billing appropriately. I do want to mention that some of our customers are also the doctors themselves. It's an important point, because if you imagine a surgeon bills for $60,000 surgery, and because of one little nuanced error, that bill gets delayed by 6 months, well, that's a $60,000 payment that's getting delayed by 6 months. So this is of a concern to all parties. But yes, in the healthcare space, precision is critical. This isn't like optimizing online ads. The room for false positives is very low, which is why we're doubling down on, we're tripling down on precision.
Right. So means in experiment mode, and when you're testing mode, then the challenges are different. But when you scale up and go to the production,
Yes.
what are those challenges and how you overcome those?
Oh, so again, we as I mentioned, we have a lot of data, hundreds of millions of claims. It's a manageable data set. We're fortunate in that regard, but it's still big data. And scaling trainable models, particularly when it comes to negative examples of claims that have been billed appropriate, but are still in some ways similar to the broken claims. Scaling the negative examples is difficult. Again, part of the reason resolves around kind of the difficulty of the modeling. There are areas where neural networks are appropriate. There are areas where a combination of neural networks and other techniques are required. And yes, training these models at scale is definitely an issue that my team is works continually to resolve and improve. But there are currently no real out-of-the-box solutions to the problem in our particular niche.
Right. So means in your case, are you getting all the data which is real, or you also incorporate some of the synthetic data? Because in your case, you can create some synthetic scenario of document. So you have one advantage.
Yeah, this is where again it gets a little tricky. So synthetic data generation is an invaluable tool for certain areas of ML. It's important to understand when the tool can be leveraged. For instance, in pure document analysis or imaging analysis, you average two similar images together, and you get a new type of image that's also legitimately in that class. There's a kind of a continuous spectrum there in like let's say the imaging space. With healthcare claims, it's more nuanced because the claims are heterogeneous. There's lots of they're more tabular and heterogeneous. There's lots of signal there. And for instance, when you take two claims that are not broken and you average them together, you're probably going to get something that is broken. And if you take two claims that are broken, you average them together, you're going to get a third claim that's broken in a completely different way. So it's important to understand the geometry of one's data and whether or not it is continuous and can be averaged appropriately in order to be able to kind of understand when synthetic data is useful for one's use case and when it isn't.
Right. So means how big is your data science team?
Mhm.
And what consists?
So right,
means data scientist, software developer, how many team members that you manage?
So again, right now the ML data science team consists of 4 people, and I just want to say we're actively hiring for more from to add additional experienced and motivated individuals to our team. Some members of the team think our title does have the title of data scientist. Other members have a title of applied machine learning engineer. But again, at a kind of in a small startup, it's very much a wear many hats sort of environment. Like from our standpoint, whether team members refer to as a data scientist or a machine learning engineer, correlated more towards their kind of the types of projects and challenges that they would like to take on and their preferred interests, rather than kind of any particular sense of sense of title. And again, I'd be happy to jump into those nuances if you like.
Yeah, right. Means in your opinion, means you mentioned that you have a very small team, but in your opinion, if there's like 20 plus people, and means how you communicate with your team that this is the responsibility of data scientist, what is the responsibility of ML engineer, and what is the responsibility of software engineer, and to provide them overall pipeline so that they can work in collaboration with open communication. So that, because most of the leaders mentioned this as a very big challenge for them.
Again, I like to use a bit of a strange metaphor here, but one that I think is kind of appropriate to kind of useful for differentiating those roles. So again, I'm a big history nerd here, and I'm particularly interested in the Napoleonic Wars. And in the Napoleonic Wars, the three main ways of holding a warfare and organizing the battle was the heavy artillery, the infantry, and the cavalry. Now, heavy artillery represented what was possible by state-of-the-art technology, and it can be used to completely change the direction of battle via technological know-how and brute force. However, it was also heavy machinery that was difficult to drag into battle and set up. And from my standpoint, this is where kind of machine learning infrastructure and machine learning techniques exist today. They represent state-of-the-art technology without which certain organizations cannot flourish and cannot conquer in the business space. Nonetheless, they're still there. It represents difficult technology, difficult infrastructure to kind of set up, maintain, understand. Requires a lot of mathematical know-how, just like the artillery back in Napoleon's time required the knowledge of physics to kind of fire appropriately. But still, it is not enough in the current business landscape to really alter the direction of the battle in and of itself. I do want to quickly mention that by World War I, artillery had gotten powerful enough to completely determine the course of battle, but we're not there yet. Now, at the same time, you have the cavalry, which is just individuals on horses charging into battle the same way that they had for hundreds of years already. It was an outdated technique, seemingly outdated technique that still worked and was crucial to the direction of the battle. And there was it was all about speed and mobility and understanding and know-how. And in some not in some ways, this is how I think of the data science team. Now, obviously, this is where the metaphor breaks down, because data scientists are expected to understand the nuances of the machine learning techniques and apply them where appropriately. But the kind of the most important aspect of their role is to be light and quick, and to leverage the appropriate technique at hand. And if the correct answer to a particular problem is, let's say, simple statistics, if all it takes to really get the result for a particular use case that gains value to the client is quick t-tests, well, even though the technique has been around for 100 years, that's the appropriate solution, and that is the quick solution. And so that quickness and speed arising from both like analytical expertise and understanding of the data is where that data scientists, at least on certain teams, are really poised to to contribute. And then of course you have the infantry that basically does the standard things that need to get done that to kind of keep the battle going. In this case, we have the software engineers that just make sure the infrastructure is running, make sure that we have the APIs going that can get the data back and forth to the clients. And then I do also want to say that there's this nuanced niche between software engineer and data scientist that I think of as the product engineer, particularly when you're building an analytics product, having the customer in mind, having the use case in mind, and figuring out how to deliver the analytics solution appropriately to the customer. It takes engineering know-how, but it also takes kind of this data science analytics know-how. And I do see a bunch of data scientists, the individuals that started their career in data science, that transition more into this hybrid engineering role, where they built out their analytics into a customer-facing product. And I do think it's important for organizations to also recognize this this niche of product engineer, which again is becoming kind of a more and more crucial role in certain teams as the teams grow out.
Right, means interesting metaphor that you use. So in that metaphor means, in your opinion or in your experience, means do data science team work internally only, in-house team, or you always need some outside help as well, like consultant or in labeling or other activity?
Yes, it depends on the use case. And again, so right now I'm building out Anomaly, but prior to Anomaly, I was in the founding team of a startup called Primer, and I kind of led that applied machine learning to the natural language processing space. And again, I mean, we're small. I led the efforts to build out Primer's kind of a foundational prediction and analytics stack. So help grow that team from 4 people to 100 people. And the way I see it, especially when the company is small to medium-sized, outside help when appropriate, should be leveraged. When you're a startup, you do whatever it needs you need to get done to be fast and nimble and satisfy the clients. So and you don't want to find yourselves reinventing the wheels. So again, at Anomaly, we have in certain instances at least spoke to connections in other organizations to see if they could be provide value to fill the certain gaps that we later went on to fill ourselves as we grew grew out the team. Now, again, and so for small to medium sized companies, I think it's important to be aware of all your options. Now, as a company gets larger, I think there are more kind of trade-offs, discussions to be made. Having said that, I do think that kind of an organization should never be reinventing the wheel, but at the same time, also being aware of the consequences of, let's say, asking outside help or depending on outside technology, let's say 3 years down the line, it's important to ask that as well. What will happen as the organization grows? What are the consequences of this decision? So, there's nuances at play, but one must keep an open mind and always understand what decision is best for the company.
Right. So yeah, means technological technologically means what do you feel that there's some where you feel the gap, means you are giving all the tools, all the technology available in the market to your data science team so that they can perform their job that
Yes.
do very easily, and they don't need to waste their time in unnecessary works and do their specific job. So do you think
So
any frustration, any incident that you frustrated you that you don't have any tool in the market, or means those kind of incident, if you want to share?
yeah, well, it's more about let's say certain gaps in the space again outside of more intelligent labeling. Better human in the loop tools are highly desired, particularly let's say in the area uh, of active learning, using these tools to understand where the gaps in your data lie by sampling intelligently. I've back in the past, I've played around with a number of tools, which again we're still works in progress. Maybe they've improved at this point, but I haven't seen a good active learning solution. That's where your model is basically trying to make sure that the predictions it's confident in are truly deserving of that confidence, but at the same time appropriately, labeling the uncertain signals along the decision boundary and so forth. Good interpretability tools. I mean, we're doing a lot of work internally on model interpretability, and I have to say, in healthcare in particular, models cannot be black box models for a multitude of reasons. But one of which is to make sure that because of the complexity, we internally have to understand how the models are making the predictions. More importantly, to gain trust with the experts in the healthcare space, it's important to be able to point out and show how the models are predicting. So there's been a lot of fascinating work in this space, but not as many tools for interpretability of kind of commercial tools as one would like. I do think, and there's also in terms of both tooling and algorithms, there's kind of this interesting dichotomy in the space. If you look at all the recent amazing advancements that we've seen in the machine learning field, a lot of them obviously have been in the deep learning space, and it's again, deep learning is very much relevant to what we do. But if you look at the algorithms leveraged to win the top Kaggle competitions, they're usually a version of tree-based models, a version of XGBoost, CatBoost. So part of that discrepancy is that deep learning works well on kind of more homogeneous data, and tree-based models work well on heterogeneous data with a variety of features. There hasn't really been that much of a push tool-wise for a hybrid approach. So you can imagine a data set where some of the most significant features are homogeneous, such as images and text, but there's other kind of tabular information. You see this a lot in healthcare space, where maybe the clinical notes written by the doctor outlining the patient's health, that's all text, that's all homogeneous, that can be handled by a transformer. But then all the charts, demarcating what medication they're taking, their blood pressure, test results, and so forth, that's heterogeneous. And so ideally one needs some sort of hybrid solution that combines the signals from tree-based models and network-based models together. And again, these tools can be built in a custom way. These algorithms aren't exactly, they're very straightforward to implement, but I find it fascinating that we don't really see these tools, offered at scale by organizations, and I think they're particularly useful to search to a lot of let's say a lot of players in the kind of the machine learning business market.
Right, right. So yeah, means to conclude our session, means I just wanted to understand how you see next 5 years in your space vis-a-vis AI.
Yeah, so I do see machine learning as being fundamentally transformative to the space. It is a very data-rich space, and in which a lot of the legacy players they basically still depend on kind of on manual effort. So outsourcing the effort to have tens of thousands of individuals writing custom SQL queries to go through claims one at a time, or 100 at a time, and look for signals of billing, and then vastly overcharging the clients to resolve these signals. It's a strategy that's working. It's gaining it's gaining these legacy players like billions of dollars every year, but obviously it is not it's not a strategy for 2021. Let's put it this way. And so I see the machine learning landscape as completely transforming that space. And that transformation, it's going to have to happen hand in hand with kind of with the domain experts that understand the nuances of healthcare and healthcare billing. But I do hope that I do know that by us doing our part to resolve these billing errors, like the consequences to to patients will be immediate. Lower health insurance costs, kind of like less headaches when it comes to billing issues and so forth. So I do believe we will all benefit in some respects from this transformation in AI-driven healthcare payments.
Great. Thank you for your time, Leonard. You have shared so many insights, and it was really great talking to you. And hopefully we'll talk more in coming days as well.
Of course, would love to. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you.